Everyone, welcome to A New View. I'm Kim, and I'm here with Shira, Lee, and Juji. We are four friends, speakers, and professionals from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups coming together to offer healing and inspiration. Today, we're going to talk about self-medicating. Many people do this in one form or another for various reasons. I know all of us have had experiences with this in some way. Who would like to share first?
Ooh, I think I'm going to show some courage and vulnerability, and I'm going to go first because this is a very interesting topic for me personally, because I think that I know that I have had judgment about this topic as it relates to other people, which is super interesting because sometimes when we're judgmental of other people, we realize that we're actually guilty of the same things that we're judging because we're all human projectors. But basically what I want to share is that it dawned on me after I left my marriage that I was probably having alcohol to self-medicate. I never really realized it. And I certainly wouldn't put it in the category of like alcoholic. However, I do remember, because it's fun. It's like, it's social, it's this, but I do remember in my mind, somewhere deep within myself, saying to myself, like, you don't really need to be having that much. Like if you're going to a gathering and even during the week, we would like have this amazing meal and open up a bottle of wine. And I just remember sometimes having extra that I didn't really need to have. And so then I started questioning. I was just like, well, why are you feeling the need to have more when, it's like a glass of wine or even two. And then sometimes I would have a third, or if I was having a cocktail, I'd have another one. And then it became very clear to me afterwards that I was not doing the right thing by my body or my mind. And that clarity really got me on a different path, because as I've shared with all of you, afterwards, I just decided I was starting all kinds of new paths. And one of them was, I'm not drinking, just not. And so for a year I didn't. And I've kind of gone back to it, but very like here and there. And so it just feels really good to me to have that awareness now. Of course, my life is in a completely different place besides, or maybe because of making that decision, but to have, to be able to share this with you all now is something that I could never, ever have done before. So growth, #growth.
So proud of you, Shira. I remember when you quit and you announced it to us and we were all, totally supportive of it. But a year later, I was just like, wow, she really did it. She said it and she did it. Like, good for you. So proud of you.
I heard somebody say once, and this really stuck with me, that you should only drink to feel even better. So not better, even better. If it's like a celebration, if it's like you're in a great place and you're going out to dinner and you have a glass of wine because you're with people that you love, like, not because something is wrong and you want to check out. Because that to me is what self-medication is. Whatever you choose to check out is what that is, whether that's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's another substance. And hey, guess what? I think working is just as much a culprit of checking out as anything else, because it allows you to not deal with the thing that you're not dealing with in order to protect yourself, in order to avoid at all cost facing the thing that you are clearly trying not to face. And I feel like I just did it all at once. I like worked myself to the bone. I drank my face off. There was like food involved. There was medication involved. It was just like all piled on top of each other. And I feel like as soon as I did face everything, this is funny that we're doing this episode like not long after we were talking about the breakdown or breakthrough episode. Because it was only after I started really facing up to the things that I needed to face up when I was finally like, yeah, this is unsustainable. Like, I can't keep doing this to my body. I need more sleep. I need like to clean this out. You know, I too stopped drinking for quite some time. I think it was like almost 2 years. And now I don't beat myself up about it if I have a drink or two here and there, but I definitely don't go out of my way to try and, like, especially if something is bothering me. That is now the opposite of the solution in turn, like, oh, I feel like I need a drink. What's going on? You know,
Yeah.
what is that drink avoiding now?
Yeah.
And I think that's the key word, saying that you need it. You know, I need a drink, I need a pill, I need, you know, whatever it is for anybody. If it becomes necessary to do something that may be toxic for your body, it may be time to realize, like, this is a problem, you know? And I also think that, you know, in some cases, avoidance, right? Avoidance of uncomfortable things in our life. There's something to be said also about avoiding toxic people or avoiding whatever, and escaping in that way through self-medicating could be an okay thing. You know, if you're surrounded, or if you're in a marriage that's terrible, or if you are with a boss who is very toxic and creates a toxic environment, I feel like it's okay to escape that. It's okay to need not necessarily other toxic things like alcohol and all
Well,
that.
but I'm going to challenge you on that, because then it's like, if you're saying that's okay, then it could just be a self-perpetuating, because the thing is, like, with addictions, they probably get worse over time. They don't like stay the same or get better unless you're very
They
aware
do.
at the outset.
But, you know, I
So-
guess I'm thinking of this as, and maybe it's not self-medicating, but I feel like in some cases, self-medicating can be like, you know how some people go to the gym for hours and every day, you know, so it may not be necessarily doing anything, you know, that's negative to you, but it's your escape in a healthier way. You know,
Yeah, I think the key word is awareness, because just being aware if something is impacting your life in any negative way, shape, or form, and how it's making you feel at the end of the day. Is it making you feel good, or is it making you feel something else? And just having that awareness, because, you know, when we were talking about doing this topic, we mentioned how something could start off really innocent, you know, one drink to take the edge off could like potentially become a weekly thing, and then a by daily thing, or like, you know, it could become a dangerous addiction. And it's amazing, when I was reading about addictions, I read that 21 million people in America have addictions. And I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm sure a lot of those did not start, they weren't intentional. You know, it's almost like it just develops over time because things don't get better. They might have some awareness, like, oh, this really isn't great for me, but are they willing to really look at it and feel what they need to feel to make change?
But it also becomes a habit. See, that's the part of the mental piece of this that you know, you have to plug in the habit part of it. Because if you are self-medicating on a regular basis, a week turns into a month, which turns into a year, which turns into 2 years, and then you're like stuck. And then you're like, holy crap, like I can't get out of this. It's like, and that's where most people, like, you know, go to 12-step programs or get therapy or what have you. But it is interesting to notice when it becomes a full-blown habit.
right, unless it's a
Need
good
it,
habit.
need it.
Yeah, and I
Right,
think my
correct.
point from before was like, you know, and we can form good habits that we might even be addicted to, you know, as well. But, you know, obviously we're much better off with those. And yeah, and I think him, you know, it's that big thing that word that keeps coming up in every one of our conversations is awareness. You know, being aware of what it is that's driving us to form these habits, or addictions, or, are we self-medicating in a way that's detrimental to us? Or are we, going towards something that's going to, expand us or help us in our life?
Yep.
One of the things that we talked about in preparing for this is the term self-soothing, because that's kind of what I wasn't able to do. I wasn't able to like check myself. I was also incapable of being uncomfortable. Like I didn't want to be alone with my thoughts. That's a big one for people. Drinking alone is sort of the first sign that you're, it's not healthy, because it's supposed to be something that you do socially. And then when it starts turning into something that you do by yourself, it can be sort of like, why are you doing this? There's nothing to celebrate and there's no one around, And I also think that like, it gets to a point where even the things that we consider to be healthy can start interrupting like our life as we are here to live it, in terms of like maybe losing too much weight and starting to I have a friend who's very into working out, and it started with like just getting addicted to SoulCycle and having this community which he was really into, and I was like, great, this is such a better outlet. And then like it started being like 2 SoulCycle classes a day, and then it started to be like, well, I'm going to be a SoulCycle instructor, and like all of a sudden he was doing like 4 classes a day, and I was just like, I'm worried about you. Like he lost so much weight. He was like, I literally can't eat enough calories to like keep up with this habit that he had formed. And so it was like, and he was aware of it too. Like when I brought it up to him, he was like, yeah, I know. It's like, I just replaced one bad habit with this, and I totally see that. And I'm looking into it, because I have this sort of like addictive personality, and I understand that it's not something healthy turned into something that was no longer healthy. And so it's important for us to, address those things, even if they are wrapped in the form of health.
I'm glad you said that, Jude, because just to piggyback on what you're saying, that it's important to, especially if they're people that are close to us, to say something. Like, are you okay? I'm worried about you. Have you considered that? I don't know. I'm just glad that you mentioned that, because sometimes we're just like, are they okay? And then we don't say anything. We don't interrupt the cycle, because you never know. You never know what your words can do to somebody else, and they could be like, oh really, you think I have a problem? And then that can lead them down the path of healing. But
yeah, that confrontation can be really scary. I had an intervention with a friend years ago, and it was a bunch of us, and it did not go well at all. And it was like, it put such a bad taste in my mouth to confront someone with an issue like that. But I won't stop doing it if I see someone else like that in my life who clearly is in need and can't help themselves. But it's definitely can be really scary. Something I wanted to add before was I never looked at other things as self-medicating, but it makes so much sense. Like I know I emotionally eat sometimes. I know sometimes I like to have a drink on the weekends after a long work week to take the edge off. Like I'm aware. And I think that awareness is like, you can do something with that awareness and be aware of it so it doesn't become a bigger problem. Or you can, just sort of have your eyes closed to that. That's a huge choice, and, I can't stop thinking about video games, because so many people I know have family members who definitely have their heads buried in the video games. I mean, my own nephew who lost his dad at age 12 was like crazy into video games when that happened, because he had to shut down. He could not feel what was going on inside of him, and he needed to numb the pain so hard that he just played video games all day. And every situation is so different. And I love something you said, Juge, when we were preparing for this topic. You said, like, it's an illusion, like the void, the non-feeling part of it is like this illusion, like it's giving you, whether it's shopping or working or video gaming or alcohol, drugs, all the things, it's like it's gambling. That's a big one. It's giving you something to feel like a little like lifted and high about, because like if you weren't doing that and you were just sitting with your thoughts, which when you said that, I was like, bingo, like that is so big. It's uncomfortable. And a lot of people cannot sit with that discomfort. It's just too challenging.
Well, it's so funny you're saying that, because one of the thoughts that I had as we're talking about this is that at some point we have to pay the piper, right? Like something's going to manifest, whether it's you lose your job because you have an addiction, or, you lose your money, or your health goes south, or like something is going to be there to make you go, stop it, like just stop, not stop the addiction, just stop and think about what you're doing to yourself, to others, right? Because addiction doesn't necessarily just affect the person that's addicted. It affects the people in your midst. And I used to say to my kids, everything in moderation except for mommy's kisses. That's what I used to say to them. You could ask them that. But so the truth is, it's like, well, what is moderation? Because, it's just this insidious, it like creeps up on you sometimes, because I remember points at which, in my own mind, I was just like, maybe you shouldn't have that other drink. And so I remember like being in a situation, whether it was a family gathering, whatever, and I would think the thought and my mouth is going, yeah, I'll have another one. It's like, wait, what? What? You just said to yourself that you're not going. So we have to be kind and gentle with ourselves when we make a decision to change an addictive behavior, no matter what it is, because there's like so many anonymouses out there, right? There's alcoholics, gamblers, shopping, sex, so many things. Like we're all just messed up. It's okay. So when you do that, when you do actually intend to make a change, you have to be kind and patient and gentle with yourself. Like that's the number one thing. That's the only way you're going to get to the other side. Because if you keep beating it like, oh, I told myself I was going to do it and I keep doing it, I'm such an asshole, I'm never gonna, no, you have to just get rid of all of that language. And, one of the reasons that AA and a lot of these 12-step programs are successful is because it is a one day at a time decision. I'm not going to gamble this day. I'm not going to drink this day. I'm not going to debt this day. And so the gentleness and the kindness and the patience for me, like if I have nothing else to say about this episode, that's the thing that I want to share.
Baby steps all the way, for sure. I love everything you just said, because it's so important just to be the gentle and kind on yourself. One small step should be a celebration, not, like you said, all the things that load on the guilt and all of that.
Yeah, because I've been in situations that I just said where I'm just like, I'm only going to I'll have another one. And it's like, where did that freaking come from? And so
you were like, no, Shira, no, bad girl.
Yeah. And then you just try again.
Yeah.
You just try it again.
Mm-hmm. And it's, I love those words too. And it's, there's a lot of, forgiveness involved when we do punish ourselves or start to get those feelings of like, what the hell am I doing? And it's like, it's okay. You go back to it and you try it again.
Well, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap up. You guys agree? Nobody wants to add anything else? Okay.
Yes.
Well, if you've enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to let us know if you have any topic requests or questions by commenting below. We'll see you soon. Thanks everyone for watching.
Bye-bye.